Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to our wonderful gathering. So I'm sure we all get the gist by now that Muslims fast during the month of Ramadan. And although this is something unique to our religion, this is in fact something that's been practiced by people of many other theologies, as well as by people who just want to achieve a specific or optimal level of health. If you look back into the history of society, we look as far back as to the time of Plato, and we saw that Plato was a very big advocate of fasting. And Plato said he himself fasted for greater mental and physical efficiency. Fast forward some years later, and we see one of the founding fathers of this country, Benjamin Franklin, was also a very big pioneer in regards to emphasizing fasting. And Ben Franklin said, the best of all rest, or the best of all medicine, are rest and fasting. And then when we fast forward to the fields of science, medicine, and health and wellness today, we see very prominent doctors and figures who are big advocates of fasting and utilizing this very, very unique approach to not only maintain our physical well-being, but achieve situations or experiences of health that are only unique and can only occur if someone enters into a state of fasting. And so again, although this is something that's been practiced for early on within our civilization, we're seeing this becoming more and more popular today. And as the research continues to grow, we find that fasting is something that creates such unique change and such incredible phenomena within the body that there's no other therapy on this earth that can actually mimic the same effects that fasting offers. And so some of the things that we see in the body of someone when they're fasting, both under a microscope as well as on the surface, are phenomena that include things like hormesis. And so hormesis is a phenomenon our body undergoes as a stress response to putting ourselves into a state of establishing resiliency. So for example, someone enters into a state of not eating or drinking for a set period of time. At the end of the day, this is a physiological stress that's being placed in the system. Now over time, what happens is someone's body, through this concept of hormesis, establishes a sense of resiliency. And so now this person that used to get hungry 4, 5, 6 hours into their fast can now survive 10, 12, even 14, 16 hours into the day. So they've established a sense of resiliency to this low level of physiological stress that's coming through the form of fasting. But the benefits that come from this act of hormesis actually go far beyond just surviving without food or water. This resiliency that our bodies are able to require by abstaining from food and water now give us a better ability to fight off things like harmful bacteria, toxins, viruses, to protect ourselves from degenerative diseases and pathologies like heart disease, cancer, and dementia. And this is only exclusive to this act of fasting and boosting our body's shield against anything that can offer us any type of harm. Along with this concept of hormesis, we also undergo a phenomenon known as autophagy, which is like our body's cellular cleansing process. When we enter into a state of not eating or drinking, we have a rise of a very special hormone that's known as glucagon. And what glucagon does in our system is it travels to all the different nooks and crannies and places tags on parts of our cells, different enzymes, different things that may not be functioning to their most optimal potential. And now once all these tags are placed, because of this hormone that's present, because someone is fasting, our body goes into its own sort of spring cleaning. And now this old cellular debris, these old ruptured enzymes, these things that can cause us major pathologies in the future like cancer, heart disease, and other health ailments, are now being taken out from our body simply by being in a state of fasting. And now along with this cleansing process, we also experience an uptake of human growth hormone. And this is like the miracle grow of our bodies and the fountain of youth. And so what happens is autophagy occurs. We bring all the old parts that are rusty and old and cause us to age at an accelerated rate, and we get rid of all of these things. And then human growth hormone comes in, and now this gives us the tools we need to replace all those old parts we just took out with brand new shiny parts. So it's like our body undergoes a cleansing and a renovation simply by not eating and drinking for a set period of time. And the last thing I'll discuss is how fasting has such an incredible impact on the brain of a human being. And this is specifically found in the hippocampal region of our brain. And that's an area that is affected by things like very prominent neurodegenerative diseases we see in the world today. Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia, schizophrenia. I'm sure all of us have dealt or been around somebody who's experienced something similar to this. But what happens is when someone fasts, this region in the brain goes through a different type of effect, which now creates a sense of neurogenesis, or the production of new brain cells. And now these neurodegenerative diseases that eventually cause us to lose our minds and have difficulties within our lives are now pushed either completely away or further into the future. This is because of one special protein in our brain called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And when this protein is present in our system, our brain undergoes spontaneous and very, very heavy amounts of neurogenesis. And so as we get older, we find that our ability to react to our environment becomes more enhanced. Our memory actually increases. And our ability to be better functioning or higher performing human beings continues to evolve, although we, on our biological clock, are starting to tinker down. So the benefits of fasting, my brothers and sisters, are those which can be discussed for such a long period of time. And I encourage everyone, with the consent of your healthcare provider, to try and pursue some small level of fasting. Because regardless of what religion you follow or what you believe, there are changes that occur within the body that are only exclusive to this wonderful act of fasting. And you find that although in the beginning this is something that provides a lot of difficulty for us, this is something that in the end we as Muslims during this month, and anyone who's ever fasted, start to look forward to as we get further into our journey. Thank you everyone for allowing us to provide this wonderful event, and I wish you all the best. Assalamu alaikum.